Salvete. In this video, we're going to talk about appositives. Now, appositives come right kind of after the third declension gets underway, and this is not a third declension-y kind of topic necessarily. It's just where the book has it. And I'm going to show you what an appositive is. There isn't a positive rule here. I don't think I'm going to read it to you just yet. I think I'm just going to instead, starting over here. Let's just give you a couple sentences to chew on first. Okay, the first sentence here says, Christ, the Son of God, is the King of Kings. And it's showing you how to say that in Latin. Christus, filius Dei, est rex regum, or rex regum. So Christ, the Son of God, is King of Kings. And it also has another sentence. Christians praise Christ, the Son of God. Christiani Christum laudant. Christians praise Christ. But Christians praise Christ, the Son of God, is Christiani Christum filium Dei laudant. So in these sentences, I think the book is just explains what appositives are so concisely. I'm just going to read it, okay? Because I thought about, okay, what was I going to say? And then I read the book. I'm just like, read the book. In these sentences, the word son is a noun which is used to explain the word Christ. That's what these both have in common. Christ, the Son of God. So son is being used to explain Christ in this one. Christians praise Christ, the Son of God. Again, the word son is being used to help explain Christ. Such a noun is said to be in apposition to the noun that it explains. So son is an apposition to Christ in both of these sentences. And this word is called an appositive. Son is an apposition to Christ and is an appositive. Filius is an apposition to Christus and is an appositive. So just like son is an apposition to Christ, the word filium, which means son, filius, is an apposition to Christus in the first one. And so we should be noticing something here. Oops, sorry, zoomed out. So the word filius is an apposition to Christus because the word son is an apposition to Christ. And we should notice something when it's in Latin. They're both in the nominative case. Christus is in the nominative case because it is the subject. But when we have a word that's in apposition to the other word, we're going to keep it. The rule is we're going to keep it in the same case and the same number. So if the subject is, it's not always the subject. It's not always the subject, as we're going to see. In the second one, it's the word that's in apposition to the other word is not in the subject. So here it's Christians praise Christ. So now Christ is in the accusative. So Christians praise Christ. And we're explaining who that Christ is that they're praising. And so when we say the Son of God, we're keeping the Son of God in the accusative as well. Well, not the of God part, because that's a genitive, but at least the actual word son is in the accusative because it's an apposition to Christ. And so that is the appositive rule. You may even see an appositive rule somewhere in your grammar book, although your purple book doesn't refer you to your grammar book, and I don't think you need to go in there in order to learn about appositives. Just don't think it's necessary. I think that was pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at two exercises that go right after this right after this little teaching on appositives, and we're going to do them, and we're going to see some appositives in action. And before we do that, though, let's just take a look at some new words that might show up in those sentences. So we have Caesar, Caesaris, a third declension word, or Caesar, Caesaris. Excuse my classical pronunciation. Salus, salutis, which is safety, welfare, or salvation. We have vox vocis, voice, or it means the cry of somebody. And then audivit, which is he, she, or it, so it's a singular, heard. So somebody or someone thing, somebody or someone thing heard. And so these may just be part of those sentences that we're translating that also contain appositives. Okay, and then in the last video, we mentioned too that we could find the genders of these words. Caesar is masculine because Caesar himself is a male. Salus, salutis, there's no biological gender here, so we're going to use the Sox rule. We can see that the nominative ends in S, and we can determine that salus, salutis is feminine, and according to the Sox rule, vox vocis is also feminine. All right, the two exercises we're going to take a look at are 36 and 38 over here. One's just a Latin to English, one's an English to Latin. And I've already got them written here. So many times when we see an appositive, the appositive is going to be sort of set off from the rest of the sentence by commas. So Galli, Caesari, comma, Imperatori Romanorum, end of the appositive phrase, praemia non dederunt. And so we're going to solve that. I'm going to walk you through the process and solve that. And we've got another one. And then here we've got, we're going to take a look just down below at exercise 38. Okay. Galli Caesari Imperatori Romanorum praemia non dederunt. We're going to start with subject and verb. Okay, so our verb is non dederunt. Non dederunt means, well, dederunt means they gave. It's plural. It's got an nt ending, so it's they gave. But it says non dederunt, so it means didn't give. And so what we want to do is find the subject. We want to find the subject, the thing that's going to be in the nominative. So we have Galli, Caesari. Galli looks like it could be in the nominative. Caesari has the same ending. Is this the nominative? No. Galli, Gallus, Galli, is a second declension word, which goes us, e, o, e, is, os, is. Okay, so Galli, it could be a nominative, but Caesari is a third declension word. Third declension words go various, is, e, a. So when we see an e on the end of this word, that's not a nominative, even though this one is a nominative, and they have the same letter on the end of the words. Okay? Here we're dealing with a nominative. Here we're dealing with a dative. And so here's a plural subject, which would match the plural verb. So that kind of checks out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write the Gauls did not give. And what didn't they give? What did the Gauls not give? In order to find what the Gauls did not give, I need to find the thing that's in the accusative. That's what's going to tell us what the direct object is. That's going to tell us the thing that they didn't give. So let's take a look. Is Imperatori in the accusative? No, that's in the dative. Is Caesari in the accusative? That's a third declension word. That's in the dative. Romanorum, this orum looks like a genitive plural. So this means of the Romans. Praemia. Could praemia be our accusative? Is the word that comes from, okay? O, that's a second declension neuter word. O. Oh, remember how neuters go. Orum, is, is. O, orum, is. Okay, so this praemia could be an accusative. So the Gauls did not give rewards. It's the only thing that even could be an accusative, so that's got to be our thing. So the Gauls did not give rewards. And now, because these are datives, because Caesari and Imperatori are datives, it's probably showing who they didn't give the rewards to. So the Gauls did not give the rewards to Caesar, who is the emperor of the Romans. So emperor of the Romans. And so if you think about it, if I didn't call him Caesar, if this word wasn't part of the sentence, I could have said the Gauls did not give the rewards to the emperor of the Romans, right? And it wouldn't change the meaning of the sentence, really, or the substance of the sentence. And so I would need that emperor of the Romans to be in the dative case, right? So if I'm saying the Gauls did not give the rewards to Caesar, and then I'm using these words, the emperor of the Romans, to further explain him, it kind of makes sense that I would want the emperor at least to be in the dative, not the Romans, because they're not talking about they didn't give them to the Romans. Maybe they didn't give the rewards to the emperor of the Romans, but they gave them to the Romans themselves. So it's not really, the Romans here aren't really the dative recipient. He's just the emperor and of the Romans. So we still want to keep Romans in the genitive. So it's okay to have another word inside of that appositive phrase, inside of those commas, that's not the same. That's not the same case and number as the word that they're all matching to. This is the one that needs to be in apposition to Caesari. Imperatori needs to be in apposition to Caesari. So our final answer is the Gauls did not give rewards to Caesar, the emperor of the Romans. Okay, good. There we go. Next sentence. Servus vocem Caesaris imperatoris audivit. And just to kind of refresh, audivit means he, she, or it heard. If something is audible, you heard it. Okay, so again, subject and verb. Audivit is a singular person heard. What could be our subject? Something in the nominative and also something that's singular so that it matches our verb. Servus is the only one, so the servant. So the servant heard. So servus and audivit. I like to cross off words when I've got them taken care of, especially because when sentences get a little bit more complex, that can just help us keep our thoughts straight. So the servant heard what? What's the thing in the accusative? Servant heard that's the only thing in the accusative, heard the voice. The servant heard the voice, and then Caesaris. So various is, it's a genitive. So heard the voice of Caesar, and we're explaining Caesar further by saying the emperor. And so we want imperator, imperatoris to have the same ending, which it does. They're both third declension. And so if they're both dative and both third declension, they'd have the exact same ending. So they heard the voice of Caesar, the emperor. All right. There are what looks like 8 sentences in exercise 36. And so I've done a quarter of them for you. And then we're going to move on to exercise 38 now, which has some English to Latin. Let's do number 1. I will transcribe it first. Number 1's got a lot in it. Christ, the Son of God. Christ, comma, the Son of God. There's our appositive phrase. Comma, is man on account of the salvation of men. Okay, so there's a lot going on in here. There's a lot of things that we've studied so far for us to review in doing this sentence here, which is why it's a good first one for us to do. All right, so again, subject and verb first, except this time, because we're going from English to Latin, we're going to want to maybe start the sentence with our subject and put our verb all the way on the end and kind of leave plenty of space in the middle for us to fill in things along the way. All right, so Christ is going to be Christus. Christ, the Son of God. So I'm going to go Christ, comma, and let's put the Son of God in there. So if Christ is in the nominative and singular, we want Son to be in the nominative singular because it's in apposition to Christus. So that's easy. That's Filius. And then we have of God, which would be Dei, because Dei means of God. Is man on account of the salvation of men. So in this particular sentence, I think it would be a little clunky to say man on the account of salvation of men is. Typically you'd want to say is man. I don't know if on this one we want to kick our verb to the end, although nothing is nothing, it wouldn't be counted wrong. Latin was very, very flexible in the order that you could put words in, because what was more important is what did the words have the right endings on them. So Christus Filius Dei homo est. And now this we also want to be in the nominative. So we have a lot of nominatives in this sentence because, do you guys remember why? It's not that this is an appositive. This isn't. This Filius isn't a positive, and Filius Dei is the whole appositive phrase. We're not keeping this one in the nominative too because it's an appositive. We're keeping this one in the nominative because this est functions as an equal sign. Do you remember that? So this sentence has a lot of nominative because Christ and Son and man, they're all referring to the same person, so they would all be in the same case. Okay? Christus Filius Dei homo est, on account of the salvation of men. So what was that word for on account of? It was propter. Propter. And because we have a preposition, we need to remember what does propter take, right? And so if we go back to where we found propter in our book, I know this is a little bit of work, but you're going to have to keep doing it until, is this the one where, nope, propter. Or if you remember a little piece of like our liturgy that has propter, like, gratias agimus tibi, propter magnam gloriam, magnam gloriam. I think we know that propter takes the accusative from that, from just remembering that. But if we want to be sure, propter is a preposition with the accusative. So there it is. Okay, So he is man propter on the account of the salvation. All right. So I need to take that word salvation and I need to put it in the accusative. What was salvation again? Salus, salutis. Okay. So how do I put an accusative ending on this? I don't put the accusative ending on salus, right? I only get the stem from third declension words by looking at the genitive, salutis. So I take the is off, and that salute is our stem. Propter salute. Now I'm going to put my accusative ending on it. Various is em salutem. So on the count of the salvation of men, I need an of men. Men is plural. That means I'm going to need a genitive plural. That means I'm going to need, all right, what's my word again? Am I going to need an arum or an orum, or am I going to need an Depends on what man is. Homo, hominis. It's a third declension word. So again, my stem is homin, homin. Propter salutem, homin. And so what I need is my third declension. My third declension genitive plural ending. Various is ema, various is ema. Those are the singles. Ace, is what I need. Hominum. So hominum means of men. So here's our final answer. Christus, filius Dei, homo est, propter salutem hominum. All right, and exercise 37 has, oh, sorry, not 37. Which one is this? 38. Exercise 38 has 7 sentences, of which I've done 1 in this video. So I think you guys can figure out the rest. All right. Thanks for watching.